A little reflection again tonight. Coming from the fights I saw tonight. MVP fights with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. And then a reflection over getting out of your comfort zone and checking things off a bucket list. And not making excuses. So, what do I want to talk about with these two fights? I didn't see the other two, but and I haven't kept up with any kind of MMA fighting for years. And for those of you who watch my stuff, you know that these type of videos I do, reflection, drinking coffee, smoking a pipe, they're not short. They're not fast paced. There's a lot of pausing, a lot of puffing on the pipe, and it's all intention. To get you all to slow down and be okay with sitting in silence for a little bit. And being more patient. Even if I don't say anything of any consequence or of any value, you just sitting down and taking the 10 or 20 minutes it takes to just quietly and calmly and patiently watch one of these videos will be worth it. Invaluable. I got a new tobacco tonight, and so I'm working in it. It's not working as easy. It's working differently than the stuff I've been using. It doesn't seem like it's taking that it's keeping a consistent burn. Which there's a lesson that just came to my mind just in that thought. We won't go there, but the tobacco I'm using tonight is of a different consistency than I'm used to. And consistency matters. But back to my main two thoughts. I haven't kept up with MMA since around 2006, 2007, when Rich Franklin and Matt Hughes and Rampage Jackson, Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, and Silva were the guys fighting. Stephan Bonnar, Forrest Griffin, and that famous Forrest Griffin Stephen Bonnar fight from The Ultimate Fighter first season. Because I was getting too into it. And when I finally just quit it cold turkey, I had spent my whole day Saturday just watching MMA fights. And I was there by myself. I wasn't, my wife and kids were on a mini vacation, I think, seeing family or something. But I knew that was no way I wanted to spend my Saturdays. But every once in a while, a fight will come on, either a boxing fight or something I hear through the grapevine, because I don't keep up with all that stuff anymore. You know, so this Ronda Rousey fight came up, and I was interested in fighting. It was free and on Netflix. I'm gonna watch it. I went to my buddy's house to watch it, and so the Nate Diaz fight, he didn't look too good. He's always been, what little I've seen, I remember, kind of a lackadaisical, lazy kind of form type of fighter, but he's a formidable opponent. But that Matt Perry really took care of him tonight. I think he totally dominated that fight. And as with any fight, a lot of those guys are just cocky, arrogant. A lot of it is just to keep the fans intrigued with all the dirty talk, the smack talk, the hate. But I never respect guys that do that a whole lot. I've always enjoyed the guys that are respectful all the time. And I don't know how much of that went on. I didn't keep up with any of that for this fight, but you know, Nate Diaz is known for being a smack talker. But he was humble enough tonight when he lost. But then the Rousey and Gina fight. I mean, my lands. It had some meaning. Ronda wanted to get out of her past, the negative way she left things over 10 years ago, and I don't know. I just know there was some controversy around her and certain things, and she got out of it. And she wanted to come back on her own terms, fighting for herself. Some sort of self-redemption, and I think it was all good and admirable. Gina, been out of the game for 17 years. And the whole thing just got her back into training. She lost 100 pounds. She fell back in love with being trained and getting back into the fighting. Neither one of these. Ronda says, no, I'm done. I wanted to end on a good note. That's a good way to end. I want to go back to my farm and have some babies. I think that's beautiful. But the fight was so quick, 17 seconds. Ronda took her out with an armbar. She's famous for that. And they both cheered each other on. They're both smiling and laughing. Gina got up laughing. Gina's a striker, Muay Thai. He didn't get a chance to do anything to Ronda. So she might be leaving the door open a little bit to at least have another fight so she can get in there and put these last 2 years of training into practice. But no matter what you feel or I feel about the sports, women in sports, and all that stuff, it's just the fact that you have two women who pursued their dreams and didn't let society or their past keep them down, and they just kept moving forward. Now, I teach men. I'm not trying to teach women. I'm not trying to promote women, but I teach men, and I want y'all to learn just to keep pressing on, moving on, no matter what. And what was my second thought? What was my second thought? Oh, bucket list. Bucket list. Y'all have a bucket list. A list of 10, 15, 20, 100 things that you want to do before you die. And hopefully, at least half of them are challenging things. Things that challenge you. Things that scare you. Get you out of your comfort zone. things that will toughen you up. You know, like I want to have a real visit to the Grand Canyon that I've never had. That's not challenging. That's just something I want to do. I want to skydive and scuba dive, not for me to get over fear, just because those things interest me. And I have no doubt if I'm up on a plane and I decide to skydive that I will be scared. But I think I'll do it. I want to do those things because they're intriguing to me and I want to do them. But other things that are challenging, that you have to work toward, that you have to get out of your fear, that you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to accomplish. Hopefully you have a few of those. I did one of those tonight. I did one of those tonight. So, backstory. Is I like to sing. And I think I have, a better than average voice. And I've been singing in churches for years. And singing for His honor and glory. Singing songs that are church songs and loving it, agreeing with it, not wanting to bring the world into the church, all that, And people have wanted me to make CDs and tapes, some with my family. My family is very talented singing. People love to hear us sing. I was always asked to sing. I did a lot of I like doing it. I joined the choir at my school and got accepted to do that, but I didn't pursue it because you had to do all those, I'll just consider them, those effeminate fag dancing. I don't a lot of the dancing that you have to do in these choral groups in high school and college, they're just very effeminate. I don't think there's really a place for men to do those types of things. So I didn't do that, but love leading choirs, I just love it. Okay, and so I like to sing. And so when I'm on the road, I just sing like crazy. I act like a fool when I'm singing. I've not had any voice training, and I don't know that if anybody would ever hear me sing would ask me, have you had any kind of voice training? But what has happened, I noticed, especially the last 5 years, but really over 10 years, all the moving around I've had to do, and moving and on the road travel to try to heal a marriage and be available for my family, and move when they move because of their family situation or because of COVID, because of schooling. I just made those moves, and then would have to travel a lot to spend time with my family, and my kids, and just being on the road a lot, and then having my jobs where I'm on the road a lot, a couple hours a day on the road, and just while I'm in my vehicle, I'm always listening to good godly music, especially in the mornings, melodious music, because I do my morning routines at the house, but then I'm still carrying some of that on when I get into my vehicle and listen to some sort of teaching or preaching or encouragement, something on YouTube, and then I'll do that, and then sometime throughout the day I'll just throw on some good old country and maybe some rock and pop, and start listening to just the stuff I like, just fun songs. And I was just singing a lot on the road, and training my voice as a byproduct. And learning to have more control over my voice and to be able to hit higher notes in a controlled tone, controlling the vocal cords, how it comes out of my mouth and how it comes out my nose, and singing some falsetto, and just working on that. I think I'm singing a lot better. And I've noticed, stuff I was trying to do 3 years ago that I couldn't do. The higher songs like Brooks and Dunn, their Boot Scootin' Boogie and Neon Moon, and some Ed Sheeran, however you say it, Ed Sheeran or Ed Sheeran songs, Perfect. I'm thinking out loud. That I'm able to hit those notes. I'm not saying that they're the best quality, and I'm not saying this wouldn't be painful to listen to when you're in the car with me, but I have been on the road with people in the car while we're singing, and it sounds okay, And it always sounds a little weird and strange when, like, the music dies off and you catch yourself singing some of that a cappella, but when you got the good music and the good acoustics around you, and you have any kind of ability to sing, that all comes together. And specifically over the last couple of years, me changing as a person, not changing who I am fundamentally in my walk with the Lord and His beliefs, but I'm just not so rigid on things anymore. Like smoking a pipe or drinking a little bit. I'm not condoning any of it. I'm just saying I dabble in that stuff a little bit. And decided the Lord just opened up my heart to possibly dating again. And so doing that, I thought, well, I'm just going to, if the opportunity comes for me to sing somewhere, and not be a church setting, I'm going to do it. And that generally has worked out to be